Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told the Knesset's Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee on Monday that Israel is considering resuming the transfer of tax payments to the Palestinian Authority that were halted following Palestinian unilateral steps in the international arena. Foreign Minister Avigdor Lieberman rejected Netanyahu's statement, saying that Israel Beitenu will do everything in its power to prevent the transfer of funds to the PA. State officials said that if the government indeed decides to resume the payments, it will review the matter every month. As part of the Oslo Accords, it was agreed that Israel will provide the PA with tax payments it collects on its behalf. Foreign leaders have urged Israel to reinstate the funds transfer since Israel halted payments 2 months ago. President Shimon Peres held a secret meeting in Jordan. The president's residence has yet to comment on the matter, and according to one report, Peres and Abdullah discussed the resumption of the peace process between Israel and the Palestinians. The king apparently briefed Peres on his visit to Ramallah last week. The Petra news agency also reported that the king stressed that Israel must stop unilateral steps against the Palestinians, particularly the settlement construction. He added that Israel must avoid changing Jerusalem's character and hurting Muslim and Christian sites in the city. Peres, on his part, presented Abdullah with the steps Israel can take to build an atmosphere of trust with the PA. Israel-Jordan relations have experienced a crisis in the past 2 years. King Abdullah has slammed Israeli policies on several occasions and even declared that North Korea's global standing was better than Israel's. In a meeting with Jordanian intellectuals last September, he declared that Jordan and Palestine's future are stronger than Israel. Unexpectedly, large crowds of voters turned out on Monday to cast their votes in Egypt's first parliamentary election since the ousting of President Hosni Mubarak, a ballot that seems to blend vindication of the democratic struggle with uncertainty over the revolution's final outcome. By 9 a.m., voters had formed long and peaceful lines under the watchful eyes of a police and army guard to cast votes in rich and poor neighborhoods across Cairo. In several places, queues stretched as long as a block along the banks of the Nile, and there were similar reports from Alexandria. In Tahrir Square, the epicenter of Egypt's democracy struggle, several thousand protesters maintained their 10-day occupation to press demands for the immediate end to military rule. But that didn't seem to dampen the enthusiasm shown by some Egyptians for the vote. At several polling stations around Cairo, voters reported frustrating delays of up to 4 hours because ballots or voter lists, or even the supervising judges, had not arrived on time. And one news report said that soldiers fired in the air in one of the capital slums to disperse an angry crowd trying to reach a polling station. On Monday, Israel's Socioeconomic Cabinet unanimously approved an interministerial program to promote a healthy lifestyle in Israel focused on preventing and reducing obesity. The proposal is expected to come into effect within 2 weeks. The plan's numerous recommendations include amending a 1994 law requiring prospective gym members to obtain a physician's approval before signing up. New members would instead be asked to fill out and sign a declaration of fitness. The program supports lowering the minimum age for working out with free gym weights, resistance machines, and aerobic exercise machines in gyms from age 18 to age 14. It calls for the Ministry of Culture and Sports to expand the general public's access to athletic facilities in educational institutions and other public buildings, including courts, playing fields, and auditoriums when they are not in use by students. The new plan prevents several different approaches for improving the average Israeli's diet. The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development will promote the development of hybrid species of fruits and vegetables that are bred for unusually high nutrient density with very high levels of vitamins, minerals, and other micronutrients. The Education Ministry is to see to the enforcement of existing restrictions on selling foods with low nutritive values in school, vending machines, and cafeterias. Finance Ministry will be asked to consider expanding the items for which workplaces can claim tax deductions as refreshments to include fresh produce. Another provision in the program would give priority in the state-subsidized basket of health goods and services to the introduction of drugs targeting lifestyle diseases. There's also a proposal to restrict television ads for high-calorie foods during peak viewing hours for children. The estimated cost of the program for the next 4 years is 265 million shekels, with the lion's share of 153.5 million shekels coming from the Health Ministry and the remainder from the Ministries of Agriculture, Education, Culture, and Sport. The Foreign Ministry told the Jerusalem Post this week that a team of Israeli and German experts will be working with Kenyan agricultural and water professionals to upgrade the commercial fishery system and wastewater treatment mechanisms within the Central African country's Lake Victoria. Ilan Fluss, Director of Policy Planning and External Relations at Mashav, which is the Foreign Ministry's agency for international development cooperation, said the team made a preliminary visit to Lake Victoria earlier this month to assess the needs of the region and strategize ways to better raise tilapia fish, also known as St. Peter's fish, and implement a more effective wastewater treatment system in the lake. Deputy Foreign Minister Danny Ayalon and German Economic Cooperation and Development Minister Dirk Neibel signed an agreement of consent for the project in January as part of a pact the countries had made 2 years earlier to work together on projects in developing countries. Facilitated from the Israeli side by Mashav, the Kenyan project is important to reducing poverty conditions in the Lake Victoria area. Representatives from Germany's GIZ aid agency participated, as well as Kenyan fishermen and industry professionals. The German-Israeli team already has a collaboration underway in Ethiopia and signed an agreement last year to begin one in Ghana.